Hello, guys.
Hi, everyone.
Hello, everyone.
Hello. Okay. Are we live or are we still somewhere in the back
Can
end?
someone let us know whether we're live or not?
In the
Yeah.
comments, yes.
Okay. We
Mark,
have some comments. It
how
would
do you
be
do
Italian
background here?
here.
I want a background as well here,
It's magic touch.
please.
All right.
Uh,
I think we're live. I think we're live. All right. Thanks everyone for joining the webinar. I'm pretty excited to go through the content that we've prepared. Like we are pretty pumped about this, and the interest has been amazing. Like honestly, I feel like everyone recently has been trying to switch to native to search or trying to do something like what we're going to talk about today. And together with Mark and Andre from Taboola's team. Sorry, I didn't introduce you guys. I'm a bit.
don't
I'm a
worry, we
bit.
can do the introductions.
Yeah.
If
Yeah, don't worry. We're happy to do. Yeah.
All
so,
right.
hi
So
everyone.
yeah, please go ahead, guys. So meet Andre and Mark.
So I'm Andre. Hi guys. I'm a team lead for CE in Israel, and I've been at Taboola for about 4 years. Excited to be at this webinar.
Hi,
Mark,
guys. My
over
name's
to you.
Mark. Yeah, I'm the senior account manager for Central Eastern Europe at Taboola. Been here for about a year and a half, and also very excited to get started with this webinar.
Okay, I think so. One little note before we get started with the content. So Andre is pretty informed about what's happening about the content, the search arbitrage, as well as the content arbitrage in Taboola, as well as in the industry. Meanwhile, if I'm correct, Mark, please correct me if I'm wrong, but I think you were into media buying on your own in your previous experience, right?
Yeah, that's right. Not on my own
Uh,
as part of a company, but yes.
Yeah, yeah, but I mean hands-on experience because what
Yes.
happens usually is that we have like okay, account managers or representatives of companies who've never bought a single tick in their life, and quite suddenly they start on giving advices and stuff like that. But and things are a lot different when the suggestions or the recommendations come from someone who's first really into what's going on in the industry, especially for some specific topics, as well as from someone who's had hands-on experience with with buying traffic for themselves, and you know, it's a totally different thing.
Exactly. Otherwise, it's just saying, "Oh, give us massive budgets and everything will be perfect. Everything will be all right." No, it's not like this.
Let's
So we
spend money. You have to
have
scale, but what about the results?
exactly.
All right, so shall we get started? I think I have the first part, right? So I'm
Yes.
go
So
ahead. I'm going ahead and start sharing one of my screens here.
just to
Oh,
briefly touch on the agenda, so Losit would be first to talk about, the general knowledge, comprehensive dive in and talk about Optimizer itself a little bit, and then myself and Mark we will take over and we will talk about Taboola because ultimately, yes, we do understand that there are a lot of advertisers here who are very seasoned and who are looking for some insights. But we're also keeping in mind that there are a lot of beginners, so we need to take into account that a lot of people are just getting started. So we promise no hard sell, but ultimately we need to spend a little bit of time talking about who we are as a company and who we are as a team, but it won't take too much time. We will dive in straight away into details, insights, and then we will. Mark, by the way, will talk about some technical specifics, how to work with Taboola, what to focus on, and then we will take your questions.
all right, guys. So I'm starting to share my screen. Please let me know when you see it.
Yeah,
I
all
think
good.
it's time. All right. So practically, I wanted to touch a little bit the what's going on in the search arbitrage ecosystem, how it's working, and how things work, the ins and outs, and the basics of search arbitrage. So practically, let's start with the basics. So what is search arbitrage? So practically, search arbitrage is the process of simultaneously buying display ads specifically in the native ad format, and selling search results from search engines. So practically, we're talking about search results that people are paying on a keyword basis. So whenever we run a native to search campaign, we're talking about keyword level revenue from clicks. So when it comes to keywords, or to promoted ads, we're promoting ads from Google, from Bing, and from Yahoo Ads. The difference between Google, Bing, and Yahoo Ads is that okay, Google has a two-click flow, which requires visitors to go first on a landing page with keywords, then land on the SERP results or search results that are being promoted from other partners. And if for anyone who has run search traffic, I'm pretty sure they're aware of these little notes here where you get asked if you want to include search partners traffic or syndicated partners traffic, etc. Also, for Bing and Yahoo Ads, we're talking about a one-click flow. So practically, the conversion flow is a little bit shorter. However, that doesn't necessarily mean that it's going to convert in a way like better or give you better payouts or better results. It's all about the traffic quality and the keywords, as far as what I can say from my experience. So whenever possible, try to have them try to pick the feed that kind of works best for you and for the traffic that you have access to, rather than just going for like, okay, I want a one-click flow because it has less conversion frictions and stuff like that. So it doesn't work like that. It's mostly on a keyword quality and traffic quality. As I said earlier, with with Google, we have a two-click flow. So practically, people go from the content page where the native ads are being promoted to the park domain with a list of keywords in the landing page, and then go to the SERP results. Meanwhile, for Bing and Yahoo, we have from ad to the search results. Specifically for Yahoo, we're talking about content that is landing, or ads that is landing directly to the search Yahoo results page instead of going to a park domain, or instead of going to a promoted link page. What about the providers? So far, and I've been talking with a lot of people that, especially in the last year, that are working with feed providers. There are some small companies who are providing some good feeds, but at the same time, like where I see most of the people are putting their efforts in is either Tonic, System One, Sido, or Domain Active, part of OB Media, under Crossroads, which is the platform, or whatever name they might actually be playing in the market. Also, we have all these four search feed providers integrated on the optimizer, and we're adding Bodies, which has recently opened doors for paid traffic. We've been in close touch with Bodies team, and it's just a matter of them being able to adopt the API according to our platform needs. And from once it's live, we will be able to integrate them on the optimizer and give you guys like an additional option to kind of monetize the traffic with search ads. Specifically to search ads, there are some limitations and constraints that we would like to keep present. I'm saying limitations and constraints because at first it might look appealing to everyone. Like people might think, okay, I'm gonna go and run some pretty aggressive stuff and pretty aggressive headlines because afterwards the people will land into a search results page, but it doesn't work like that. So in terms of compliance, we'll have to keep present first the side where we're buying the traffic, but at the same time with same level of importance, the monetization part, which is the search feed provider or the Google, Bing, or Yahoo Yahoo feed. That because all these networks or all these ad providers require us to send the headline as well as the placement where the click is coming from, as well as a lot of other details which are crucial and will help them audit our traffic quality. At the same time, Google and the other search engines have grown to become pretty sophisticated. And even if we try to kind of fake the clicks or do something that is like out of the compliance, it's not going to end well. So most probably we will get our revenue events wiped out or denied or canceled. So be careful with the headlines, be careful with the content and how you promote this kind of offers. Also, there is no real-time data, which is kind of a boomer when it comes to optimization side, but luckily we have two at least two options that are working pretty well and are working at scale. The first option is that the optimizer directly, and I'm not trying to sell here, I'm just trying to describe you like how the process works. If it's about selling, we can get on a separate call together, and even hands-on experience, we can go over pretty detailed discussions on how to make things work and get everything up and running, literally from scratch. So in terms of high-level concept of how things are working, we're talking about the optimizer, having an optimizer account where you connect Taboola or any additional native ad network or social ad network, and then you have Tonic, System 1, set of domain active or bodies connected on the other side. We match the data from both sides, and we report you accurately spent revenue as well as revenue events on the campaign, site, and ad level, based of which you create automatic rules and you do everything automatically without having to deal with anything with your hands or spend your life behind the screen, how I like to call it, because it's really not normal. Like that's something out of this world. Secondly, the click validation delay is pretty much long, so it takes 24 to 36 hours for the revenue and the click events to be reported. Some feed providers do offer some predictions and some intraday reporting. However, we will have to keep present that this revenue reporting and revenue events that are reported intraday, not after the confirmation moment, are subject to changes. So don't always base your optimization based on those data. It's good to have them, but rather focus on the confirmed data. And lastly, or not lastly, we have to deal with keyword rewrites, which is part of what Google does or what Bing does on their end. If they don't like a keyword or if they don't like where the traffic is coming from, they will do some sort of keyword rewriting, and the results on the page will be totally different for the visitor. And last but not least, we have a limited amount of events to track on these kind of campaigns. There are players like System 1 and Tonic who offer the option to kind of view the results, what's happening, like if the visitor is landing on the keyword page, if they're seeing the SERP results, etc. But at the end of the day, what is the most important event is the revenue click event, which you should optimize your campaigns towards. So I don't know, like if we're about to talk into more details, I would say let's catch up separately and go into some weird discussions or weird talks that we might have with each other, because if I'm continuing with other stuff, I'm pretty sure there will not be enough time for Andre and Mark to cover their content. And by the way, I think
Sure.
Andre, you should be able to talk us about to talk us a little bit more about the trending verticals and what's going on with search arbitrage on Taboola right now.
Yeah,
Like,
absolutely. Do you want me
please
to
help
take
us
over?
understand like a little bit better what's going on with that.
Sure. So let me share the screen in a second. So thanks very much, Lossit. Super educational. So can you see the screen now, guys? Can you see it?
I'm not able to see it yet. No.
Not
Okay.
yet.
Someone in the chat let me know whether they can see the screen.
It's not yet.
So it says is sharing your screen. So it should be fine.
No, it's not visible to the people
Oh,
either.
weird.
Maybe you want to retry
Okay,
it?
Lossit. Let me try again.
Maybe it's a Mac issue with permissions and stuff. Oh, sorry. Wait a second. Okay.
Oh,
I didn't know I had to enable that. Sorry.
So you
Please,
did.
please go
Okay,
ahead. Go ahead. Share it again, and I will enable that. Okay.
awesome. Can you see it now?
Yeah.
Yes, we should be able to see it. Yeah.
Sweet. Okay, so thanks very much, Losit, for walking us through the optimizer and pretty much all the partners. As I mentioned earlier, I feel like it's very important to start from scratch and briefly talk about what is Taboola, because again, I totally understand a lot of people are here who are here, they know what Taboola is, but at the same time, it makes sense to briefly recap for those, specifically for those who are just getting started. So, and by the way, amazing Photoshop skills on my end. So we're going to talk about who we are as a company in a second, but who we are as a people. Mark and myself, we are part of the growth organization. So team representatives, both on the account management and business development side. We already mentioned that we are working for Central East Europe, and well, I work for Israel as well. And the organization itself, it specializes in working with performance-oriented advertisers like affiliate marketers, search arbitrage, or traffic arbitragers, pretty much anyone. So in Lossit terms, in Lossit words, if you want to have a conversation, we can have it separately. Just let us know. Now, talking about who is Taboola, what is Taboola essentially? So it's a content discovery platform, but in simple terms, it's just another traffic source. So it's a native advertising platform that connects publishers and advertisers, allowing these advertisers to reach consumers effectively. So by open web, by the way, we mean websites. So we're located below the article on all the publishers that we work with, which are about 9,000 of them. And I usually say that there is a very important know-how that this inventory that we are providing is exclusive, meaning that below the article there can be only Taboola, and there are quite a few major publishers that are working with us. So Business Insider, CNBC, USA Today, you name a few. We promise no hard selling. But I feel like it's important to mention some crucial numbers. So, and I'm going to talk about the largest that search arbitrageurs prefer. But in general, on a daily basis, we reach 500 million people and generate 1 trillion monthly recommendations across 9,000 digital properties that we've mentioned. Now, which is a significant inventory, and a lot of people who are working with it, they're asking, okay, where do we start? And here are some geos that search arbitrageurs like scaling at. And it's very important to keep in mind that this is not, you know, it's not the end point. If someone's telling you, oh, go to the US, I'm making so much money in the US, this is the best geo ever. This is true. This is one of the largest geos to date, at least at Taboola. But you need to keep in mind it's highly competitive. So you need to be aware of that. And secondly, there are always other geos that you should explore, and I'll talk about it in a second. There are English-speaking geos like Australia and Canada, which tend to be an alternative to the US geo as the main one. Singapore, for instance, if it's English-speaking. So if we're talking about some high-paid, higher geos in the EU, it's definitely UK, France, and DACH. So if you're running US, there is no reason for you not to try UK. It's a massive geo. But if you're looking for something else, not necessarily the high competitive, high paid tiers, you can always try, your luck and try getting some experience in smaller and lower paid tier geos, but they tend to be more affordable CPC wise. And, they may not be as competitive like Spain, Italy, and Poland, or maybe, some other geos in the Eastern Europe. So we also get a lot of clients who are trying Latin America. Again, the RPMs and the RPCs, they tend to be on the lower end, but again, there is less competition there, and it would be more like a lower margin, higher volume type of business. So Mexico, Brazil, other Latin American geos, we have some clients who are trying running there, and they're being very successful. Obviously, it's important to keep in mind the scale may not necessarily be as large as the US, but the cumulative amount, if you run and say separate Latin American countries, that would be substantial. And the same goes down to like some geos in Asia, Japan, South Korea, India. They are massive, especially if you're trying them together, not necessarily obviously within one campaign. So if you want some specific information, just drop me a message. We can have a conversation about it. And we will share some specific numbers regarding any geos that you're interested in running at, or just, you can always reach out if you're already running at Taboola. You can always reach out to your existing account manager or sales rep for more specific info, like, I don't know, the number of clicks per geo per month or daily active users. Now, Losit already covered this, but I feel like it's still important to briefly mention this. So we talked about search arbitrage, but search arbitrage, it roots deeper into domain parking, which is one of the oldest things of the internet, which is pretty much the registration of the internet domain name without this particular domain name being associated. And pretty much the goal of owning one is either for reselling it or for monetizing it using search feeds. And originally, back in the days, and sometimes even nowadays, it's mostly reliant on organic traffic. So think typos, not msn.com, but msm.com. You can try it after this webinar and you'll see something interesting. And search arbitrage is pretty much like Losit said, it's taking domain parking and driving traffic to these park domains. And you can do it via native or social, for instance. But I'm sure there are other options as well. But we're not talking about them in a moment. Now, some popular verticals. I try to be careful about sharing any particular examples here because if you're sharing specific examples taken from our internal platform, someone may not get necessarily too happy that we're sharing them and find something externally. There are lots of tools to do so. So if you want to have like a one-to-one conversation, we can always dig deeper and talk about exploring how we can scale your existing operation or how we can kickstart your new operation. But generally speaking, some of the most popular verticals, they start with health. I'm sure the majority of you came to the suppliers like Tonic or System One or Cedo and asked for what to start with. And the answer, I may be wrong, but 99% cases would be dental impacts. And they've been incredibly popular for as long as I remember myself working at Taboola. And for sure, you shouldn't stop at dental implants. There are multiple other options that you should explore, and I will talk about in a second. There's also finance, so loans, bank cards, insurances. And insurances, by the way, they may not necessarily be just related to finance. They could be related to auto insurance, quite popular in America. I think I've seen some in the UK as well. And insurance could also be related to health. You may think, well, difficult times, so it's time to get an insurance. So I think this would be pretty much an evergreen one. And if you're running affiliate marketing campaigns, you should be aware of that. The products tend to be spread out in different categories, like evergreen, that you can always sell them regardless of day and time and country. And there are seasonal ones, and there are like seasonal ones, meaning it's summertime, it's time to do solar panels, for instance. And there are so-called wow type of products. So they tend to spike and then they tend to disappear. So I'm not going to give any specific examples, not to make anyone upset about their product, but there are things that come and go rather quickly. Now, also photo, there could be electric cars. Think Western Europe, think America, so countries that are investing heavily in sustainable energy. Legal as well, so divorce, last will, attorneys, incredibly popular. Attorneys have been popular for quite some time. So home improvement, already mentioned solar panels. It's sunny days again, at least on the northern hemisphere. So it's time to start investing in those. Furniture has been quite popular recently, sofas and beds. Gadgets, mobile phones, laptops, education tends to be on the lower side of popularity, but still, get into university or try this new course. This has been quite popular. May not necessarily be as popular as health or finance, but still, a lot of advertisers run it. And finally, rehab. So I would try not to put it in health because this is something else. But there's been a lot of successful campaigns targeting, people who require some rehab or, addiction help just to fight their addiction. Now, one of the reasons I try to stay away from giving too many examples is because it's very, very important to think outside the box. It's important to keep in mind three particular aspects. So one, explore outside the usual. If someone's telling you, go to the yes, this is where all the money is, That is true, 100%. But think of it in terms of a foundation for your future scaling. So go to the geo that your manager, your support is recommending you, but always think for something new. Try unusual geos. Explore the geos that you've never tried before, because you may find your niche and ultimately generate more profit. Because if everyone's going to the US, everyone's competing there. And by the way, I'm not advising against the US. I'm just saying be mindful of the competition and try exploring something new. And by the way, that also is related to the aspect about finding unique angles. Because again, if someone tells you run dental implants, some experience tells you to run dental implants, you should definitely try, but always think for yourself, if everyone runs them, what happens? The audience is not just numbers. People who are clicking your ads, these are real people who are genuinely interested in your product and service. And if you keep showing exactly the same one for months and even years, eventually they just burn out. No one's getting interested in this anymore. So try finding unique angles. Don't copy. Get inspired by someone's work, but find your unique pathway. And finally, and this is something I would like to wrap up with, think like a citizen. So if you're targeting, say, the UK, you may want to choose to do a little research. So think in terms of, okay, what's specific for this country? So Mark and myself were based in the UK and we've lived here for quite some time. So people who live in the traditional houses, they know that the pipes may not necessarily work so well. They may be old, like from the early 20th century. And this results in pipe problems because the pipes are very old. So people who live in the UK, they know that. And they know that in specific times of the year, the problems tend to accumulate and they need masters to come and fix it, like plumbers. So try running plumbers for your search arbitrage, for instance. This may not necessarily be above the surface to something, as I mentioned, things like. But if you know something that is country specific, being a citizen or being a good researcher, you may very much find a very good niche for yourself and not just copy others. So good luck with this. Mark.
Yeah, perfect. Thank you very much, Andre. You can go to the next slide. Or I will share. Okay, cool. Thank you. Cool. So yes, thank you very much, guys. So you've heard from Andre on sort of the main verticals and what we do at Taboola, and from Lossit on how to do things through the optimizer and how search actually works. But I wanted to tell you a bit about the sort of nitty gritty of what it looks like inside Taboola, and I guess the secret sauce that makes successful campaigns and not so successful campaigns. Luckily for us as account managers and for you as users of our product, the secret sauce very much is built by our team. So it's SmartBid, which is our optimization algorithm. It basically is a machine learning algorithm which looks for the right bid for the right user at the right moment, which is sort of marketing speak for it optimizes towards a higher conversion rate. And that is what you're looking for as a search arbitrager. Clients I work with know that I very much enjoy metaphors. And here, between fixed bid and smart bid, where fixed bid is something you just kind of set a CPC and you shoot it at every click that comes through, and smart bid, which actually optimizes and bids higher for more valuable clicks, meaning much likelier to convert, and lower for less likely to convert. It's kind of like trying to outcompete a Ferrari and a horse. 90% or more of our search advertisers are using smart bid because it's a proven product. So when you're coming in with fixed bid, where there is a little bit of comfort because you know exactly what you're going to pay for a click, you won't be able to compete with them. And so you won't actually be able to get any scale. You're very unlikely to get anything to really be profitable. Could you please go to the next slide, Andre?
Absolutely.
Thank you. SmartBid is actually able to do automatic bid adjustment by audience. So you're able to actually see it on our platform, exactly how SmartBid judges what to bid on clicks from that publisher. So you can see a few things here. First of all, you're able to see does the system believe that this is a valuable click for you? And you might disagree, at which point you can set either automatic rules with the optimizer, or you can reduce the bids through Taboola. You can also see if, for example, your bid modification is reaching very high, so it's 50 or 60% above the bid you've set. That means there's a lot more traffic for you to still get, and it means that to get the valuable traffic, you should probably increase your bid. So it tells you a lot of different things that are very useful when you're trying to run campaigns successfully. Generally speaking, when you work with an account manager at Taboola, you will get benchmarks every single time you ask for them. Our team, we have a search specific team as well as a performance team that we call the growth team, where everyone is a domain expert in performance marketing. So exactly as Lossid was saying, we're not account managers who have kind of very little experience of running campaigns. Basically, everyone has had quite a bit of marketing experience, both in Taboola and other sources. So we are actually able to compare quite, I would hope, intelligently. Could you click to the next slide, please? Thank you. So what powers SmartBid? Don't just kind of believe me by, I'm telling you SmartBid works and it's really good, but there are actually numbers that back it up. I think Andre spoke about it a little bit, but obviously we've got a really large R&D team. I don't know if you guys saw our news last week, but we bought an AI company, which is exactly the sort of direction we're moving in. And working on SmartBid and improving it is basically our priority number one. As a company, we power over 50 billion recommendations per day. I mean, I'm not going to bore you with the numbers that are on the screen. You can see them, but you can see the scale that we run it with Taboola. And it's very important that SmartBid is actually able to do this optimization for you and find you the right audiences, the right placements, which you can't do when you're just looking at sort of post-click. You need to be able to give it access to pre-click because there's just so much traffic that we're able to provide that you need a automated system, a machine learning algorithm to help you out. So now that I've hopefully sold SmartBid, we can go to the next slide and I can give you a few more ideas and best practices about how to run campaigns on Taboola. These are from my experience, what people are very often asking us about. So approved lists is everyone's basically favorite question. Can I get a whitelist, approved list, whatever you might call it? We generally don't recommend it, and there's a couple of reasons. So the first reason is that usually people ask for approved lists because they're worried about performance, they're worried about fraud, they're worried about Google not monetizing their traffic. The good news here is that we work directly with the feed providers and they provide us with publishers that Google is unable to monetize. So that is very rarely an issue once you work with your account manager and they just apply an account level block list for you. The second reason is that approved lists always limit scale, and we've got a whole publishing team which is constantly working to sign new exciting large partnerships with publishers. And if you're running on an approved list, you might miss out on a lot of new supply opening up. Very recently, we had a very big win where our search team actually opened up an existing publisher that used to not accept search, but now they do. And that's been a really, really successful push from our team. So it's very important that you're not missing out on that. The second point that Andre touched on very, very well as well is creatives. Your account manager will always provide you with, this is what's like trending right now. Same thing from the feed providers. Very often they'll provide you with, this is what's trending right now. But it's very important that you're actually getting inspired and you're using a unique creative that is based off of what you've seen is doing well, but isn't just a direct copy. Our system actually has internal blocks which stop similar ads from serving because it's a terrible user experience and it will hurt your conversion rate. So always think about what are the elements of the creatives that are working so well, and how can I make them better? Because at the end of the day, you guys are not able to set sky high CPCs. You can't compete on CPC with kind of advertisers that have payouts of north of $100. So your control is in VCTR because that's how our auction is built. It's VCPM, which is CPC, the first part that I'm going to get to in a second, and VCTR. You want to maximize your VCTR so that you're able to win more auctions and are able to get a lot more scale. And you do that by building creatives that are still inspired. CPC setting. So one of the most common kind of pitfalls that a lot of new advertisers come with is setting a very low CPC. Now, I'm not recommending that you set a $1 CPC and just try to buy like all the traffic that you can, but listen to your account manager. We have a lot of data that we're able to look at and see what makes a campaign successful. And we'll usually go on the higher end just because, first of all, SmartBid will regulate it. Second of all, you'll be able to get better placements with higher intent users and higher conversion rates. You will also be able to get some benchmarks once you start working with us. As Andre and Los had said, you can reach out and we'll have a conversation. And the final one is targeting. So the power of native is in scale. If we refer to the numbers that I just had, we have about 500 million daily active users, and you really want to tap into the maximum amount possible. Unlike a niche product, which only a very select number of people are interested in, with search, you can make it can be applicable to more or less anyone. Andre's great example with the plumbing, which hit home, is perfect, because one day it might be interesting for me when I'm having plumbing issues, and other days it might not be interesting at all. So you really don't want to do any sort of audience targeting. You want to run on a kind of open campaign and let SmartBid do the kind of hard lifting for you and find the right audiences, find the right placements. So those are kind of the four main pillars that are the best practices with Taboola. I think I have one more slide, Andre, if you can just go through. Sneak peek of something you guys will be receiving because you did join this webinar that our a member of our amazing growth team has put together. It's a full comprehensive guide to search arbitrage, which should set you from sort of A to Z with it. Obviously, always rely on your account managers. Taboola is able to provide account management services to performance advertisers basically globally. So reach out. And again, not a hard sell, but if you want to be successful, it's very important that you're able to tap into the sell side data and the buy side data. And that's it for me.
Cool.
Awesome.
Thanks, Mark.
Thanks a lot, Mark. So
Thank you, guys.
as I was hearing Andre about the example, it kind of reminds me of a real world use case where I got into a friends of mine client, to a client of a friends of mine, Google Ads account. They were selling furnitures. They had like 200 to $250 to $300,000 of 300,000 euros of ad spend, and they had like 1 point something million euros of generated revenue from search ads only. They were not aware, like practically the account owner was not aware of what kind of click was he buying. He was only aware that he was paying ridiculous low price clicks, and the conversion rate was surprisingly good. Like it was like 2 to 3% for that store. Like it was barely optimized, and we're talking about high priced products, so the value of the products was pretty considerable. So practically, it's not that we're trying to fake or to scam anyone. It's just a need of traffic from the search side. There's a lot of demand on the search side that kind of needs to be compensated from other ad formats and filtered out, obviously, because if that was the case, then people would have been able to kind of go and then run display traffic from the start. Before we move to the questions section, I have a few more slides I want to share. It's just a short part.
Cool.
Okay, so practically, I want to talk a little bit about the optimization process, because there's often questions or discussions about it. But from my experience, from my own media buying experience, and like manual and automatic, as well as part of the optimizer as a project, like running things manually is a bit too challenging for people, especially when you want to enjoy life, and if you're making money, you want to enjoy the money that you're making. Like if you want to spend it on clubs, go and spend it on clubs. But if you're running campaigns and managing them manually, you cannot spend them on clubs. You cannot spend them traveling, etc. So it's a big no-no running manual and try to enjoy your life. So practically, when running manual campaigns, you'll have to download data from one side, from the other, aggregate them in a spreadsheet, sort out the data, filter them down, like specify which are the publishers or sites that you want to block, then specify what are the publishers that you want to change the bids. But then when you want to change the bid, you'll have to kind of calculate what the new bid will be, and you will have to kind of deal with what the percentage up and down would be on Taboola end or whatever the traffic source might be. So in order to kind of avoid this evergreen or round robin, which was a term I used to hear when was used with databases where data keep on going from one side and the other indefinitely. So practically what you can do with the optimizer is simply connect the accounts only once, create the automatic optimization rules. And when it comes to optimization rules, I would strongly recommend to kind of spend a little bit of time thinking those rules and planning those rules, not trying to go with, oh, I want this account level rule to do this on all campaigns, because that doesn't work. As well as expected. But the bottom line is that you can kind of save your life and save your time and enjoy your life while automating the repetitive tasks. Like you don't want to do everything manually without having a tool that takes care of the stuff for you. This obviously brings me to my unfinished slide, but I promise you that I have some pretty good rule examples with a detailed descriptions that I will send along with the guide that Andre and Mark mentioned regarding running native to search campaigns with Taboola. I have a list of some rules which are out of like the usual. They are okay, pretty standard, but there are some details that people tend often to kind of avoid or not get any of the details or implement them properly. So I guess we're now on the part where we would like to go into some live question and answers. I see there are some questions here already, so let's try to put some of them on the screen. I saw there was a question about, yeah. So we have one question regarding how difficult is it to get an account with search providers? What's the monthly ad spend they want to see in order to approve a new affiliate? So I guess I can take this one. So practically, we're talking about like a year ago, it was a little bit more difficult as as the demand has grown on the search side, so has the restriction or the barriers have been lowered on the feed provider side. If you're doing anything $500 a day or above, I guess you won't have any issues to get approved in this network. So practically, it will be just a matter of you proving them that you are serious or you have experience with buying media, especially native traffic, because uh, if you think from the feed providers and they want to avoid getting spammy traffic or low quality traffic, as they will get them into trouble along with you. So try to always check and frequently check with your account managers on the feed provider side if they're okay with the quality, same as we would do with I don't know, with lead generation offers or other kind of offers that affiliates used to run back in the day. So practically always check with your account managers if they're okay with the quality to avoid any weird surprises or any weird situations where you would have to deal with some sort of withholdings or payment issues. Going to the next. We have this from Yuri. He's an Italian guy, so he's based in the same country I'm currently based. What do you suggest about click fraud when we have in a lot of that with Taboola?
Sure, I'm happy to take it. So there's kind of two parts to the question. First part is obviously it's an industry-wide issue with kind of bot traffic, whatever it might be. Our system is actually very good at detecting it, and you're very rarely charged for what would be considered bot traffic. Most usually, what happens with this sort of stuff is you will get traffic through Taboola that Google will not monetize because they think that it's a questionable publisher, or there could be, I mean, nobody knows, it's Google, right? It's a bit of a black box. But that's what this block list is for, and that's why we work very closely with the main feed providers, and it's like a constant communication between us and them on what to block and what to allow. So I'll be honest with you, I've got a lot of clients that are running search, and it is very, very, very rarely an issue, like less than once a year, sort of rare, once you implement the right block list. So I think just reach out to your account manager, and they should be able to help you with it really quickly.
And one more thing I wanted to add, if for anyone who's using a tracker, you should easily see like the click difference between what Taboola reports and what the tracker reports, or what you see on Tonic side or System One side, etc. So you will always see sort of less clicks reported from Taboola because any invalid click gets removed, or let's say, Mark, correct me if I'm wrong, or Andre, please, like there is the next day there is a reevaluation of the clicks that were bought in the previous day, and like next day in the morning there is some updates that's happening in the stats. Is this still the case that's going on, or is it something that happens real time right now?
So there's usually in Taboola ads, there's usually a couple of hour delay, but there can be adjustments up until the end of the month. Usually they're downwards, not upwards. So your spend would go down.
Yeah, definitely downwards. Like the ad spend and the amount of click goes down. We have another question from Germaline asking, are there any potential conflicts between using the optimizer rules and optimizations and smart bits? So practically with the optimizer or without it. Please, you guys take it, and I will add my 2 cents afterwards.
Sounds good.
Go for
No,
it,
I'm
Mark.
happy to
It's
take it as
yours.
well. So there really aren't, because effectively our system is built in such a way that yes, SmartBid exists, and SmartBid really is able to do a lot of the things that kind of the optimizer helps with, in terms of there's Smart Cap, where it caps the traffic from specific publishers that are underperforming. The automatic bid adjustment, which we discussed, is all there, and the optimizer, I would say, just helps you control it and be maybe a little more proactive. SmartBid can be a little careful when making these blocks, and usually they do work fairly well together. I would say one thing where we do recommend, if you do have automatic rules implemented, is your ad delivery. We recommend you set it as A/B testing rather than optimized, especially to start, because there can be issues where they're kind of working against each other rather than together. But Lossit and us, we have a very good relationship. So if there are any issues, we can always work out how to fix them.
Absolutely, and I wanted to add like one thing, or something that I usually discuss with our clients when we get on calls. Like from time to time, there's this need where we want to get on a brainstorming call about the rules and stuff. Like always try to avoid very frequent changes of the bids. Like try not to fight the algorithm. Like smart bid will try to kind of even out throughout, like within a couple of days, or sort of a little bit more. Like try not to do frequent bid changes, like every 10 minutes, every 20 minutes, every, I don't know, any weird frequency, because it will kind of fight the algorithm instead of helping it to kind of get you to the bid that you want to be. Also, when changing bids, there are two situations, at least from what we can see on our end with Taboola. there's a situation where you are on smart bid, and practically when you're still on smart bid, you're practically lowering the maximum threshold where Taboola can go, like the up 100% or below 99% of the bid change from the site level bid that you're currently running. And when you're on a fixed bidding, which is kind of tricky to deal with, you're kind of trying to get a fixed level of bid, but at the same time, I think when running on fixed bid, we're sort of losing chances with potential traffic that we could have received from the inventory of Taboola, just because we had an inferior bid. Next questions. Okay. Does smart bid also does a smart bid also takes passback value into account?
Yeah, happy to take this one as well.
Yeah, please.
So smart bid does not at the
I'm not
moment
even getting
take.
a chance to speak.
Smart bid does not at the moment take value into account. So I assume what you're talking about is ROAS. At the moment, it's it only optimizes towards conversion rate. Now, if we were to be working on a ROAS product, obviously the more data there is, the easier it will be to build it, and the more at the forefront of it you would be if you were passing it. And the second big benefit of passing ROAS into Taboola is it really helps your account manager give you the right advice, because obviously there's like with with affiliate products or kind of anything else, you as an account manager, you often remember what the kind of target CPA is, or like what the ROAS is, because it's a lot easier. Like a shoe will sell for $40 or whatever it might be. With search, it can be a little difficult, and so it's hard for us to give you the right advice at the right time if it doesn't get passed back to us. It's really simple to pass it back to us. There is a couple of ways to do it, but basically reach out to your AM and they should be able to help you set it up.
Awesome. Moving forward to the next. Okay, this is kind of too specific, I think. Ramiro from Football Sites in Argentina. What would you recommend to avoid Taboola rejection on creatives? And this, like, it shouldn't be isolated to Ramiro. Like we hear this quite often, like a creative gets rejected, like how to deal with it, even though there's a list of reasons, hopefully that exists on Taboola documentation. So please, guys.
Do you want to
You
take it,
go,
Andre,
Mark.
or me? Okay, sounds good.
I'm sure.
I'm happy to take it. So with search, it's actually a lot easier because you avoid the pitfalls of having a landing page where a lot of campaigns usually get rejected.
One small correction: it's a content arb related thing.
Oh, I see. It's content arb.
With
Okay,
Football
so then
Sites, it's a content arb
makes
thing.
sense. Then I mean, it's about compliance. I would say. I mean, I feel like I've said this 100 times today, but the easiest way is to talk to your account manager and get an idea of what is actually wrong. Often it's obvious things like if you're scrolling through a website, would you like to see that image? If the answer is no, it's probably not going to be allowed to run on Taboola. If the answer is maybe, then maybe. But that's kind of the easiest advice I can give. As Lawson said, it is a little specific. I would recommend just reaching out to your AM and getting a more general understanding of our policies.
I think also content arbitrage wise, it's as Mark said, yeah, you always try to find a balance between not being too aggressive, but at the same trying to be visible enough so you stand out from the crowd, that you get this desired click, you get this ultimately. Again, if we continue conversation about content arbitrage, you get the session depth that you're wanting. But the easiest way to do it, yeah, you would need to have a conversation with either your sales rep if you for scaling. But I think eventually, especially if you're a seasoned content arbitrage, you should start getting less and less troubles like this, especially that you understand what type of content is accepted in the respective advertising platform. So work with UIM initially, but as you build up experience, you should feel more comfortable with understanding yourself what has the highest chance of passing the moderation.
Awesome. We have another one from Matthew. Does SmartBid work with solely post-back integration, or do we also need to implement Taboola Pixel on the park domains?
So with search arbitrages, basically everybody uses postbacks, S2S integrations. SmartBid works on a like conversion optimization. So if you're sending it conversions, it doesn't matter how it gets them, whether it's like a bulk upload or through the pixel. The benefit of a pixel, which I think is less relevant for search, which is why I never push it very hard on search advertising. But since we do have people that are doing like content and other things, the benefit of the pixel is that the pixel collects user behavior on your page and is able to build audiences off of it. So for example, we have a product called Attentive Audience, which is basically the most engaged users. And you wouldn't be able to access that sort of audience and that really powerful retargeting tool using postback. But back to search, postback is completely fine and is our recommended method.
Awesome. We have a question from Ashish regarding the CPC list, and I think we like the CPCs for mobile, desktop, US and Canada. If we have any references, I guess there's something like that included in the guide. I think I saw something regarding the CPC ranges.
Yeah.
Also, we talked about the SmartBid conflict. We have another one from Arthur. I heard a strategy in Taboola is to start with SmartBid and switch to fixed bidding. Could you elaborate on it? And what is at what phase would you like to switch to fixed bidding?
Yeah, I would absolutely not recommend this strategy. I don't think fixed bid is a product that you should be using as a performance marketer. I think it's really a product that's there for when you have a very clear sort of CPC that you just can't go above, you don't want to go below, and it's the one you want to shoot with. You don't care about the results. As performance marketers, we want to use the most advanced tools that we can get, and the most advanced tool you can get is SmartBid at the moment. So I would absolutely not switch it to fixed bid at any point. Because you learned, you will have gotten the conversion rate optimization, you will have found the audiences, you will have found the placements, and then you change it to fixed bid, and basically all of that work has gone for nothing. So wouldn't recommend doing that.
We have another interesting one. Last week I had a campaign with a spend of €1,000 a day. This week the campaign does not even reach €100 a day. What could be the reason? Does it help if I can increase the CPC? And we have this sort of situation often, like we discuss this sort of situation quite often with our clients. So guys, if you can shed some more information about this kind of situations, it would be awesome.
For sure.
Can I take this one?
Oh yeah, of course. Go ahead.
Sure. Okay.
Yeah.
Cool. We can complement each other.
Exactly.
No, I think I hear a couple of questions here. So the first one is not really a question; it's more of a concern. So you need to be aware that starting with 1K instantly. And by the way, if we're talking about the just launching a campaign, it may not be a good idea to launch a campaign with 1K budget from day one. So if you're doing this, don't. You need to build it up gradually. But if we're talking about a campaign that's been live for quite some time and you've managed to grow it to 1K and then suddenly it drops abruptly, there could be multiple reasons behind this. The first one, obviously, is you need to be aware that the audience that you're working with is not just numbers, it's the real people. So people may not necessarily be that interested in the product anymore, but there is also something to keep in mind, which is competition. You're not the only ones who are buying traffic, so there is a situation where there may be someone else who is joining the competition in this particular market and maybe even in this particular industry. So you need to be aware that you need to keep your CPMs high enough to stay competitive. And you can do this by either adding more creatives to your campaign to increase your overall CTR to impact your CPM or VCPM positively. Or yes, to answer your question, you can try increasing the CPC to see whether this will bring you more traffic and more converting traffic and keep the CPAs on the same level.
Awesome.
Mark, you want to add anything?
Yeah, I mean, it's exactly right. It does, like, a lot of clients do come to us with this issue, but it's a very simple equation. So our auction works, like Andrei said, on VCPM, which basically determines your likelihood of winning the impression. When the two constituent parts of that are CPC and VCTR. So from your second point, yes, if you were to increase the CPC, you will instantly see more traffic. The more sort of black box, difficult, but also profitable way to increase the VCPM is with creative testing. So we always recommend to do creative testing for that exact reason, because it could have been like, look at your metrics. What changed? Because it's not just spend. It'll be the VCPM and it will be driven by something. So either your CPC will have dropped because you will have blocked a top publisher, or could be 100 other reasons, or you're getting creative fatigue. So just upload new creatives.
One last thing to add on top of this. So just to mention, you need to be aware that there are two different options when it comes to scaling your campaigns. You can do it either vertically by increasing your budget of one campaign, like 100, 200, 500, 1 million, hopefully. But there's obviously another option, which would be the horizontal scaling, when you're creating multiple campaigns with smaller budgets, and this is what you need the optimizer for. So if you have one campaign that for some reason is not performing that well as it used to be, well, there's a very easy solution. You just create another campaign, and then you get the cumulative spend
I have a question
up
about
running
it.
again.
I have
Go
a
for it.
question about it. Like when cloning campaigns, like from another network, there's this huge number of campaigns before entering competition mode. Like, what is the threshold of cloning campaigns with Taboola? Because if we're going same operating system, same device targeting, same everything, same creatives, and just cloning the campaigns, quite often it has happened that campaigns have entered into competition where one campaign dies and the other one thrives, or the second campaign doesn't even stand a chance of getting enough traffic or getting any significant traffic. So what's the deal with it? Like how do we deal with it?
Mark, you wanna take this one, or do you want me to?
I'm happy for you to take it.
It's a bit tricky.
You should take it. No. On the serious note, I feel like there is no easy answer for this. The job is to find the sweet spot between creating way too many campaigns that are competing with each other, but ultimately it's, you shouldn't create too many exactly the same campaigns. Always try creating campaigns that are, yes, cloning each other, but try to find and test different angles, because as we've mentioned previously, CTRs may drop, which would influence the CPMs that will drop. So yes, you may create multiple similar campaigns, but if you're creating 10 campaigns, try 11th one a little bit differently, so you're not creating another
Would
competing
this
one.
be a viable way to do it? Like, let's say we start a campaign with like 5 to 7 ads on it, right? A new campaign starts. We let the campaign run for at least a week. We see what's the top trending ad that's getting most of the traffic, because by the end of the day, only one of the ads, even with A/B testing, will kind of be the champion of the campaign. Would that be a way? Would this be a safe way to kind of turn off the winning ad, and then give a better chance to the other ads to be retested on a clone campaign, where they don't necessarily enter into competition with the same ads?
Yeah, I mean, you could do that. Obviously,
think-
you're missing out on like the learnings that are on a campaign level. So we would still recommend the upload new ads. There is like an element of this, like it can be difficult to overthrow the top ad, but it is still VCPM based. So if you do see much better VCPMs and conversion rates, you will eventually kind of overtake the ad that was at the top. But yeah, it can be good. I would generally not lean towards the strategy of creating too many campaigns. I think it cannot be particularly beneficial. I would say you really want to focus in not necessarily on just like one huge campaign, but you really want to be testing a lot of different topics, a lot of different angles, and a lot of different geos and verticals. It's kind of in that regard.
Awesome. We have obviously there are a lot of questions here that are going like super detailed, and I'm afraid we don't have enough time to go over each of them individually. But I'll be more than happy to follow up with the questions together, maybe with Mark and Andre, with the summary of the questions. Like we go over the questions and we prepare documentation with a summary of the questions.
I think That's perfect. If you could just,
Yeah,
maybe copy paste everything in one doc after we
we can
finish,
copy the
and
questions,
we'll
paste them there, and have them answered afterwards.
yeah.
So even after the webinar, without having to go through the replay, people can go over the questions for their uh, needs. One last
Yeah.
one. I would like to take this. What's the best way to deal with a decrease of RPCs from the feed provider? Obviously, I would love to have someone from the feed provider, like we had Andre and Mark from Taboola side on a similar webinar. Generally, it has to do with the keywords. Secondly, with the domain where the keywords are being served from. Like this is what I've seen at least when it comes to what I've kind of tried to scratch on my end. So it is a bit of a complex process, but if you talk to your AM on the search feed provider, they will be able to kind of confirm this to you or shed some more light on into your specific situation, because there's no one size fits all answer for this kind of question. So I would highly recommend to discuss this with your account manager, because that's what he's there for. Like he's not there to kind of just ask you to send traffic, because you can do that on your own. Just generate the link, set up everything, and do that on your own. That's what the account manager is there. So I have,
And if you're not aware of who your account manager is, drop us a note and we'll set you guys up.
yep,
So no
and I
problem.
have a note from Alex, which is from Tonic. Yeah, Alex, sorry, I'm covering a little bit Tonic's logo here, but that's what the space I have here. The ad feed providers need some time to optimize the related terms on the landing page. Sometimes the Taboola bots visit the page before the optimization has occurred. Denies the campaign. It continues. Denies the campaign due to the terms that do not relate to the campaign. Do you see a solution to tackle this issue? We have another question here, actually.
Yeah. So I would say we've actually tackled this issue very well already. I don't know the exact numbers just off the top of my head, but those rejection reasons have gone down dramatically because we've made some changes in our moderation processes that have significantly eased the life of search advertisers with this specific issue. I don't want to get into like specific exactly about what we did, but it's much less of an issue than it was even 3 to 6 months ago. It's really much less.
Yep. So, guys, what should we
I
do?
see.
Like, shall we wrap it up?
One last thing.
Yes,
Lost
please.
it. What I see is there's this gentleman named Vanity Beast who is asking about good attendance in Spanish. I'm a little confused about the question, but I'm happy
Yeah,
to
we
say that
had, yes.
Mark and myself will be in Spain. So I don't know if it answers your question, but hopefully it partially does. So see you in Spain, in Barcelona for AWC.
We should gather all together in Barcelona next July. It's 6th and
Absolutely.
7th. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah,
I haven't I
6th,
haven't
7th, or
checked.
maybe Friday. Someone's saying.
Yeah, I haven't checked your booth, guys, yet, but we should finally be able to meet with Andre. With Mark, we met in Dubai in person, and it was really great. Lastly, before we wrap this up, as we said, we're going to have the questions answered and put on a swap file that you can refer back on, and I will send you an email with the details of the question. Also, for anyone that is looking to have or is looking for a solution regarding tracking, I'll be more than happy to enable for all the registrants of the webinar access to ClickFair, which is our tracking platform. It has integration with feed providers like Tonic, System One, Domain Active, and soon we'll have. It has also Sedo, and soon we'll have bodies as well. It has integrated cost tracking with Taboola, in case you don't have an account with the optimizer. And besides this, I will put the list of automatic rules specifically for native to search arbitrage optimization put on the email, as well as have Taboola's recommendation and guide for the search arbitrage. So within today, I will send the email with all the details, and also we'll let you know, guys, about the questions that have been left unanswered. Thanks everyone for the attendance.
Thank you very much. And just for me is just like a last plug with all the questions you guys have sent in. Every account manager in our growth team at Taboola should be able to answer them. So reach out to your sales reps or to account managers that you've already worked with, and they'll be able to help you out.
Awesome.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you, everyone.
Have a good day.
Fantastic week ahead.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.